Don't record that. Don't record me having spasms of all kinds. All right, hello and welcome to the July wrap-up video. We're gonna get straight in because I always watch these and it's like 10 minutes of talking before the book starts. So we're gonna get right in with So the first book that I read in July is The Stars and the Blackness Between Them by Junauda Petrus. This book absolutely destroyed my soul. I went into it thinking, you know, it's going to be a super lighthearted, carefree black girl tale of them falling in love. And in some ways it is, but in a lot of ways, this book absolutely ripped out my heart, ripped out my soul. I cried 3 separate times. There's literally tear stains on some of the pages in the book because I was literally, not figuratively, sobbing into the pages. So beautiful. Stars and the Blackness Between Them is a YA novel. It's Junauda Petrus's first novel. And the story basically surrounds 2 women, women? Yeah. Mabel and Audrey. See them on the beautiful cover. And so Audrey basically is forced to leave her home in Trinidad after her mother catches her and her girlfriend, like secret girlfriend, the pastor's granddaughter, catches them together. It's a super, super gripping scene that honestly had me tearing up, even though they literally talk about it on the cover. I knew it was coming. I knew it was happening. Still ripped me apart. And that is when she is reacquainted with her childhood friend Mabel, and all of the events of the book take off from there. So I'm going to read to y'all a couple of my favorite quotes from the book and then talk to you a little bit about why I love this book so much. I love you. I won't let nothing happen to you. This is your body. It belongs to you. These are your hands. They belong to you. These are your feet. They belong to you. I love you, Audrey. I say things to myself like I'm my own sweet grandmother, like I'm my own ancestor, and I say it to me from me. I love you, Audrey. You are safe. Healing is like falling in love, but deeper. You unite with someone so that you can work alchemy with a soul, so that they might elevate and revive them and heal not only them, but their ancestors. And like love, if you don't know how to protect yourself, it could consume you. Remember that you are from the stars and that you can return to them. Remember you are a sacred being of love, no matter the darkness of an earthly life. Remember you come from light and return to freedom. Remember you are the healing of your ancestors, that you are Chiron, the wounded healer. You heal through the compassion you give to yourself. Remember you are an astronaut of the soul. May you find solace in your travel to another star. All right. One of the things that I really love about this book is how much it dives into astrology and into our relationship with our ancestral kind of path. They do a lot of really amazing jumping back and forth between the present and the past, especially in terms of connecting queer relationships of the past with people's identities in the present. I really, really love to see it. I love to see a book that just reconnects people with astrology because that's something that I'm personally very passionate about. The romance in this story is so beautiful and so like understated. So much of it at the beginning of the story and really towards the middle is a really, really solid and strong friendship, which is really important and something that you don't see in a lot of YA novels, especially ones surrounding Black women. And then the romance, when they take it, is so soft and so complete and healing in a way that is so, like I don't even know how to talk about it because the way that the romance is done here is so perfect. The pacing of it is perfect. And the second book that I read in July was The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. This book was really, really good. I tore through it super fast. It's told in poems, which I think is a really sometimes dicey way to go about things, but this was the perfect execution of that type of idea. It follows Xiomara Batista, and she's a teenage girl who's growing up in New York, and she's constantly finding that her voice is being snipped away, whether it's at home, with her family, or in her interactions with her peers. I really, really loved this story. I loved the conversations that they had about religion. I'm Catholic in a very, very, very loose way. So I really love the conversations that she had about religion. I really like in stories when they talk about characters who are kind of struggling with what their religious identity is going to be, because that's something I've always personally struggled with. And I really love the conversations that they have surrounding Xiomara and her relationship with her body, because in a lot of ways she's really confident about it. She loves herself, all pieces, all parts of her body and self, but the way that the world interacts with her is what she has a problem with, which I think is a really amazing conversation, and I would love to see it explored more in books. This book did a really amazing job talking about it, but just even the small day-to-day things, like going from being a girl that's living inside of a body that you're pretty comfortable with, that that's familiar, and then all the changes that it takes to become a woman, and then the way that the world interacts with women and women's bodies, and kind of how jarring that disconnect is. I thought this book explored that really, really well. There's a romance in the book that's really amazing. And I really love the way that it's handled. I thought they were really respectful of each other, and the pacing of their relationship was really nice. Also, the themes going on between her and her mom, I really loved. I love the conversations that they have between sort of her mom's like traditional views of the way people express themselves versus the way that Xiomara is deciding to express herself with poetry. I thought was really amazing. The book really builds. The only thing that I will say about this book is the ending was a little rushed for me. I felt like although they did a good job kind of handling the kind of fallout from some of the events of the book, I did feel like toward the end things were kind of just like really quickly wrapped up. But despite all of that, this is still absolutely a 5 out of 5 for me. I can't wait to read the rest of Elizabeth Acevedo's stuff. I have With the Fire on High in my cart. It should be to me any day now, and I can't wait to read it. All right, so the third book that I read was The First Part Last by Angela Johnson. And I picked this book up because it's been sitting on my shelf for a while. I first read it in high school, and I remembered loving it in high school, so I was like, I'm going to pick this up again. And, sometimes you need to leave the nostalgia in high school, because upon my second read of this book, I was not as large of a fan. So the story follows Bobby, who is a single father, and the story is told in his past, but also in the present. And it's surrounding his journey raising his daughter Feather, and him kind of coming to terms with the fact that now he's, a man basically. He's not just a teen with carefree life and carefree living. He has to be a father. And one of the things that I found upon reading this again is that these characters are incredibly flat. Like, Bobby himself is really developed, which we love to see, because you seldom see a tale about young Black fatherhood, especially as a single father. But the rest of the characters that populate the world around him, super flat, which I was so confused by. Even his relationship with him and his, girlfriend is so flat. Like, all of the conversations that they have surrounding this baby are super surface level, which I thought was such a wasted opportunity. There's so much room for these really nuanced conversations about teen parenthood, about Black parenthood, about Black young parenthood. There's so much conversation that they could have around his choice in the situation, because there's some of the things where he talks about with him and his father, where his father is basically like, your role in this is to sit down, shut up, and do whatever it is that she wants to do. And I really would have loved to see his reaction to that more explored, but it just isn't. And part of that, I assume, is because this is a novella, but at the same time, this could have been a full-length novel, and it would have read a lot better. So honestly, I was really disappointed in reading this book again. Honestly, it wasn't bad. The story is still really important. The characters are really important, but I just wanted to see more of them. I wanted to see more of Mia's character explored, more of his friends, K-Boy and JL, explored, the relationship with his parents, especially because he has such a contentious relationship with his mom. It's like, I want more of that. And I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people who read novellas and say, I want more, and that's their main critique of it. But this one, I just felt like it was incredibly surface level for such a rich concept, and I wanted to see more. So I'm giving this book a 3 out of 5. I was thinking about maybe finishing the rest of the trilogy, because it is a trilogy even though the books are standalone, but I don't know if I'm gonna do that. So the last book on our July wrap up is Kink by Kathe Koja. This book was amazing, and honestly one that I did not expect to love as much as I did. Our story follows Jesse and Sophie, a couple that are super into the game, which is what they call their kind of kinky relationship, where they like to listen in on their neighbors, they like to people watch, they like to listen to other people when they're doing all types of things, but specifically when they're having sex. So one of the things that I loved so much about this book is the writing style. It's told stream of consciousness, so literally there are some sentences that go on for paragraphs, and I thought that I would hate that, but I really, really like it. So the story follows this couple, and they meet this woman, Lena, and all of the experiences that they have when they convert their two-person kinky game-like relationship to a threesome type thing. As you can imagine, immediately some like preferences like begin to form, and lots of mistrust and the seeds of whatever, which I thought was super interesting. I've never really seen a three-person relationship depicted. I'm sure because this book was written in 1999 that there are definitely some elements of it that are not amazing, but it read as a super great thriller and was incredibly engaging the entire time. There's so many quotes that I wanted to pull from this book, but because of the writing style, you'd be here forever listening to me read to you a 2-page paragraph. But it was really amazing. I was a huge fan. This book got a 5 out of 5 for me. And I'm looking into getting some of her other books. I don't know if she's still currently releasing things, but I'm excited to see whatever she already has. But I love the way that they talked about the greater conversations that they were having about where their life was going, what they wanted their life to mean and be about, and also exploring that relationship dynamic where the two of them kind of immediately become possessive of the other person in the relationship, regardless of the fact that they had a really strong relationship before Lena entered into it. And then the ending just absolutely blew my socks off. Once I got to the last like 50 pages, I couldn't put the book down. And I think I read this book until 5 a.m. whatever day it was that I finished it, because I just couldn't put it down. It was so good, so engaging, super good. If you're not interested in the stream of consciousness like writing style, this is absolutely not the book for you, because as I was telling you before, there are some pages that literally go on and there's almost no punctuation, but the story was really, really, really good. 5 out of 5. Highly recommend. The category of this is technically, I think, erotic literature, but regardless of the setup, highly recommend. Gonna be reading some more. I have a bunch of things on my TBR for August that are erotic lit, and I can't wait to read more. Overall this month I read 3 YA fiction and 1 erotic lit. I'm hoping to read more books in August now that I have my list together and honestly have way more time on my hands, because who knows what we're going to be doing once the school year starts. But if you've read any of the books that I read, absolutely give me your thoughts down below, especially for Kink and The Stars and the Blackness Between Them, because there are some people who really love them and some people who really did not. So I would love to have a spirited discussion down in the comments on either side, because I will gush about these books forever. If you're interested in knowing what I'm reading in August, my August TBR video will be up later this week. Make sure to comment down below whatever it is that you want to tell me, like this video, and hit that bell notification to get notified every single time I post a video. Have a great rest of your day. Bye! I'm filming. Stop filming me. Ah!
I am a pizza guy.